Hello lovely humans, welcome here. I am so excited for this video today. I am going to be sharing 6 books that I would really recommend to get you into spooky season because it is officially finally that time of year. It's honestly one of my favorite seasons and I'm so excited that it's finally here. Normally I do healthy living, lifestyle, kind of day in the life kind of style videos, and you know what, I would still classify this video as a healthy lifestyle kind of video because reading and other hobbies are really great ways to make sure that you're maintaining a healthy, happy, balanced lifestyle. I find that when we are trying to just make sure that all of our hobbies are healthy, like stereotypical healthy, like recipe making and working out and just other things like that, you're kind of squashing the other parts of you that really do need to thrive. So if you're a reader, enjoy reading. You can still be healthy and a reader. You can enjoy it both. That's what we mean by maintaining a healthy, balanced lifestyle. So I don't want to do too much of an introduction today. Like I said, it's just going to be 6 books that I really recommend to get you into the spooky season. It's going to be ranging from if you're starting out into thriller books or if you really just want to find like a different thriller that you really haven't heard of before. I hope I can give you what you are looking for. I'm not going to give away too much of these books because spoilers suck, but I am going to give you light synopsis of them and kind of why I put them on my list and why I think that you would like them as well. I am currently 16 weeks preggy and 5 days, yay, but I'm also not feeling the greatest. Allergies, preggy, it's just, it's a lot today and we might have to break a couple times, but I will try to do this as seamlessly as possible. Now, without too much further ado, let's get into it with the first book, The Silent Patient. The Silent Patient is a wonderful, wonderful novel by Alex Michaelides. I know I'm butchering that, but the book is on the screen. It is also going to be in the description box below so that you can check it out yourself. I'm going to have all the books in the description box below. So just a quick synopsis because I don't want to give too much of this book away. It is about a patient. Her name is Alicia and she was a famous painter back in the heyday living in, I believe it was New York, one of the cities basically. What ends up happening is she commits a murder, not going to give too much away, and then goes completely silent, just doesn't say anything and is admitted into a psychiatric ward where again, she doesn't talk. She's working one-on-one with a therapist to kind of unravel what happened. We're kind of going with them to kind of understand what happened, but at the same time we're also flashing back and we're going through Alicia's past via her narrative. It's really exciting because we kind of go between the two, her therapist Theo and Alicia herself. In the end, we kind of meet up all together and we all understand what happens. It was a really, really good book and it was honestly one of the first thrillers that I read and got me into thrillers. It was not a letdown whatsoever. I absolutely loved it. A complete page turner. It's not that gruesome, I would say. Yes, there's a murder that happens, but that's just one little scene. Other than that, I wouldn't say it's murder, like gruesome-y grossness. I would just say it's more thriller, more anticipation, almost jump scare if it were a movie. But yeah, I really, really recommend it. And honestly, I am going to say, I'm not going to be ranking these like my top 6, like 1 through 6. These are just kind of all my top 6, no ranking because I can't rank them. They're so good. But again, The Silent Patient is will probably always be one of my top 6. Highly recommend it. The next book I'm going to be recommending to you is The Turn of the Key. This is a Ruth Ware book and I do have a couple books by her in this list. I am slowly becoming a big fan of hers. I'm actually currently reading In a Dark, Dark Wood. I will give you a little update on that in a couple vlogs, but this is The Turn of the Key. This is a really good book. This was actually the first Ruth Ware book that I got into and I really enjoyed it. Now just a slight synopsis. We follow Rowan, who takes a job as an au pair, which is basically a live-in nanny. She's over in Europe, I believe it's Scotland actually, and she's going to be caring for 2 children of a wealthy family that have like a smart house. They kind of have like everything hooked up to Google and electric lights and everything. It's really interesting. Honestly, the smart house was really emphasized in like the synopsis of the book. I don't find it that, like, it's not like the big focal point of the book. The focal point of the book is really about how Rowan interacts with the children, the wife, the husband, and in the end, there is a murder. And I'm not going to get into into too much about the murder because that's one of the surprises, but basically Rowan ends up incarcerated for this murder, and she's writing back and forth to her lawyer, basically trying to prove her innocence, I would say. And this is a really, really good book. It's again a page turner. I actually lent this book to my sister. She's not really a reader, but she loved this book. She really enjoyed it, said it was really good, and she got through it really quickly, so I would definitely categorize it as a page turner as well. And yes, there is a murder, but again, it's not really a gruesome. I'm not a gruesome kind of book person. None of these books are going to be really gory, gross. There is a big plot twist that happens. It's really interesting. If you're really into kind of a slow burn, but like page turner at the same time, you get little crumbs of what you're wondering along the way the whole time. There really isn't a lull. You'll enjoy this book. I highly recommend it. It's also quite a quick read, so it's a good one. The next book I'm going to be talking about is another Ruth Ware book. It is called One by One. Now, just a slight synopsis of this. It is a work event that everybody is going on. It's in the Swiss Alps, I believe. Swiss Alps? French Alps? It's in the French Alps. But it's basically this like luxurious cabin in the mountains. It's beautiful. The way that the scenery is described is breathtaking. So a lot of the Ruth Ware books are in Europe, and honestly, she's beautiful at describing Europe in general, especially the UK. I believe that she lives in the UK, so that makes sense. So we have 8 friends going away on a vacation. They are actually co-workers. They invented a corporate company called Snoop. It's basically like you can tell what everybody is listening to online. It kind of like promotes music and everything. So what happens is they get all snowed in at this beautiful French Alp mountainside, and a murder happens. Well, somebody disappears, and we can assume that they have been murdered because it's a blizzard. They've been outside for more than 48 hours, so it's not looking good. What we need to figure out is the murderer in the house? That's when things get really exciting. And honestly, just the way that this book is described and explained, it's a page turner in itself. These are all page turners, I'm not gonna lie, but they're all page turners in a different way. I would call this a slow burn as well. I wouldn't say that you're getting like a bunch of the story and really pulled along into like the whole secret of everything like The Silent Patient does in that way, but it's a page turner in the way that you're getting more of the story and more of the relationships, because again, there's 8 people at play, and there's a lot of relationships at play, and there's a lot of interesting dynamics at play. So that's kind of why it's a page turner here, is because you're learning more about the dynamics. The dynamics are shifting. You're getting some information from the past. You're kind of getting some information from the past that can influence the future, well, the present. But it is really interesting in that aspect. I really like this, and it really does kind of have a smash ending. It's really, really interesting. It kind of just catapults into this big thriller ending, and I really, really enjoyed. I hope you do too. This next book is going to be the last Ruth Ware book I recommend. It is called The It Girl. It's really, really good. I actually just finished it, and it only took me like a week to read. I was working full time during this week and trying to get a lot done, so I didn't have a whole lot of reading time, but like whatever time I did have, it was spent reading. We're going to be following Hannah Jones as she kind of figures out what happened back in her first year of Oxford University when she found her roommate murdered in their suite. Now, back in the day, we realized that Hannah has actually named the murderer and put him away and everything. But 10 years later, she's pregnant, she has a husband. It's kind of getting all dredged up again, and she's wondering, did she make a mistake? And all of her friends from back in Oxford University start coming back into play. She starts asking them about all of what happened that night? Did I miss anything? And we're kind of going back and forth between leading up to the murder and then current day, what's happening as she's trying to unravel everything again, because she's not totally sure. She was sure, but now she isn't. And it's really just kind of a, I don't know, because you can trust Hannah, but Hannah doesn't even really trust herself. So you're untrusting as much as Hannah is untrusting. And that's really exciting as well. It's a page turner in the way that you're kind of learning the dynamics of all the friend group when they were back in Oxford, and also current day, they're like dynamics now and then, how that come into play. You're kind of wondering if any of them did it. You're wondering if, I don't know, somebody else did it. It's a really good whodunit. There was a little bit of a lull. I will say. And that's when I was lulled into a false sense of, wow, okay, I already know who has done it. It's all good. And then I was shifted into a whole different ending, and I just turning the page like so fast. I had to figure out what happened. It was really, really good. I adored the ending. I really enjoyed it. So if you're looking for kind of one of those thrillers that not too gruesome, not about like a lot of like spooky murder, like you're constantly like on edge the whole time, I really recommend these past 3 books, the Ruth Ware books, just because they are more about like the dynamics of the relationships in the books. They're more about kind of figuring out the dynamics and how they function within the story instead of just who did it, what happened. That's it. This next book is called My Lovely Wife. It is by Samantha Downing. I downloaded it on my Kindle. I really, really enjoyed it. And we are following the narrator, whose name we actually don't know, but it is the husband in the marriage, and he is married to Millicent. Now, this is a male perspective narrator, so you are going to be going through the male perspective, but don't knock it just because it may be different from your usual like female perspective. So what ends up happening is this couple likes to, well, spice up their marriage by murdering. It's kind of like their date night. So how it kind of happens is they have like she's a realtor, he's a tennis instructor, they live in Suburbitopia, and they're just looking to spice things up. I wouldn't say, like I said before, all of these books are not that gory, really like nasty, icky kind of murdery kind of book. This more focuses on their relationship at play and kind of what's going on, what's happening. Now, I wouldn't say that either of these people are trustworthy. I would definitely not say that the narrator is trustworthy. I wouldn't say the Millicent is trustworthy. What they're doing is not trustworthy at all. You're kind of just waiting for the shoe to drop at any moment. So you're kind of just waiting to see how this is going to go wrong, what's going to happen. Will one betray the other? Will they both betray themselves? It's honestly, you're just page turning because you want to find out how this is going to explode, because you know it's going to explode right off the bat. And my last book recommendation is The Perfect Marriage. Now, this was again downloaded on my Kindle. I really liked it. It is by Geneva Rose. She did a wonderful, wonderful job. And if you like a good court case, this book is probably for you. So a light synopsis, what we're dealing with here is a married couple named Adam and Sarah. And what happens is Adam was actually cheating on Sarah with a girl named Kelly, who has now turned up dead. And Adam is the prime suspect. Now, what's interesting is that Sarah, his wife, is actually a perfect, amazing defense attorney. So she agrees to take on his case and defend her husband, who was cheating on her and potentially murdered his mistress. It's a really complex web. You're basically following Sarah as she discovers that 1, her husband was cheating on her, 2, her husband is being accused of murdering his mistress, and 3, now she has to figure out who did it so that she can save her husband from being locked away forever. It's a really, really interesting novel. It is set in like a little sleepy town. She has to travel in from the city to the sleepy town to figure out everything. So we have a lot of small town folk, I would say, that are kind of intertwined in this story, this mystery, and it's really, really interesting how the whole plot line develops, because you're going along with Sarah, you're weeding through the case, weeding through everybody's alibis, what happened, you're going through all of the evidence, and you're really just trying to figure it out along with her. I'm not going to give anything else away, but yeah, it's really fun to kind of go through and explore and try and figure out who did it. It's a page turner in the way that you're trying to gather up more evidence, because the more you read, the more evidence you're gonna get. So you're gonna keep on wanting to read. It was honestly a really, really good book. I highly, highly recommend it. So those are my 6 book recommendations for spooky season. I really hope that you did enjoy. I hope that you will check them out. All of those books will be linked in the description box below. Again, not in any particular order because I can't choose favorites. These books were all so good. They are my top 6 for a reason, because I love them all. I love them all equally because I find they're all pretty different. The Ruth Ware ones are pretty formulaic, and I like the formula that she does use, but I can't rank them. I just can't rank them. They're all too good. And I really also hope that I didn't didn't give too much away. I hope that I gave like enough away to kind of lure you into them, but not enough that you were kind of like, okay, I get it, I already know what's gonna happen. Because honestly, talking too much about a book is for book club and not for when you're trying to recommend a book to someone. So I really hope they're gonna check it out. If you like this video, please give it a like. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. If you want to see more content, please feel free to give me a shout on Instagram at livspriggs. I'm also over on TikTok at livspriggs as well. We're keeping it simple. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you have a lovely start to your spooky season. Bye!